Morning you guys. Today I'm going to do a review on a quality part carburetor. It is aftermarket 3236 Weber and it is made by Quality Parts in China. We provide that through our online shop. I'm going to do a review on it and I'll share everything that I find on the carby with you guys. So that's what the box looks like, and let's see what we get inside the box. There's the carby, and you get additional chokes and bits and pieces with it. We'll explore that a little later. So the carby feels much lighter than the normal 3236 that I'm used to. Nothing wrong with that. And if I look at this linkage here, it was clearly made for a Ford. So I can only assume the jetting inside there is either for a 1600 Ford or for a 2-liter Ford. If I turn the carby to the side, it does not have this additional fuel enrichment system on the side, which is okay. You don't need that for every other application. The fuel inlet is a screw in, which is very cool. They give you a nut over there so you can put a carb vent on. So some of the models on the Fords I know had a vent there, and on the other side got an electric choke, and it looks pretty much just like any other 3236. I'm going to take it apart and strip it down and see what I find other than what I've just saw. So I've taken all the screws out and undone the linkage, and when you open it up you can see there that it's got plastic floats, which is rather cool, and the rest is pretty much just like a normal 3236, and the rest is the same. I'm going to put a bit of fuel in the bowl, see how it sprays, and I'll also remove the jets to see what size jets it comes with when you purchase it boxed like this. So the emulsion tubes are F50s, both of them, which is fine. It will work for most of your applications, and they are the same as the normal ones, or the genuine Weber. And the air correction jets, this one was a 160 or 170, and that one was a 160, but they are the same as the normal Weber ones, so they are interchangeable. So there's no problem with that. If you need to change jetting and what have you, it is possible. This one I'm going to jet for A14 for a guy. So there's no problem with that. The main jets were both 140s, and they are exactly the same as the normal genuine Weber mains, so you can change the main jets. There's no problem with that. Obviously I'm going to change these for the A14 application, but they are exactly the same, and the jets are available. We do have it on the online shop. So I noticed there was some fine metal filings inside the carby. Don't know if you can see there on my fingers. So I took it apart completely, and I took it outside and I blew it with my air gun to make sure that it's absolutely clean. And you must just be mindful of that. Other than that, everything is fine and it's the same. The accelerator pump jet, there's no size on it, but I'm assuming it's a 50, because I'm assuming this was copied from a model. If I look at the jets for a model for a 1600 Ford, you know, looking at the links and all of that. So I'm just going to put that back and see how it performs with that in. The air jets I'm also going to just put them back as they were. It should be okay. I'm going to test run this. I'm not going to put that on the video, because that's not what this video is about. This video is about what we find when we open this carby. And so far, I'm well impressed. There's no reason why this won't function as a genuine 3236. Only thing I don't like, there's no size on this, although it's marked 1 and 2. So I'm assuming it's a 3.5 and a 4.5. So the auxiliary venturis don't have the sizes on as we know it. And then another unknown, this is exactly the same as the normal carby. Another unknown is the size of that bush. So we don't know what's going to happen on second choke. And then obviously, as you can see at the factory, the float level is not adjusted correctly, so I'll adjust that. On the accelerator pump side of the carby, pump diaphragm is the same as the normal one. So spring feels a little softer, just from experience. Spring feels a little softer. There might be a reason for that, I do not know, but I'm going to put it back as is. This is exactly the same as the genuine Weber, no difference there. So there's no reason why this shouldn't work. I'm going to obviously put a bit of fuel in and test it and see what it does, but it's exactly the same as the Weber. So I've put a bit of fuel in the float bowl, and this whole system, it was bone dry. It actually primed through quite nicely, and it sprays as it should. No problem with that. So the accelerator pump system works, and it works quite well. One thing that I do like on this carby, the accelerator mixture screw is the external type. It's got advantages and disadvantages, but I prefer this. I've had less hassles with these than with the internal ones. So with the internal ones, I mean this type here, where that casing, you see the difference there in the casing, where the casing was cast longer and the mixture screw is inside there. So a lot of things go wrong with them. Guys use the wrong screwdriver and they damage the inside, or they never remove it and service it, so it becomes corroded inside there. Sorry. And then eventually it strips or snaps off like this one. And those mixture screws are actually skinnier inside than what these are. I'll show you now. So the mixture screw that goes in this other carby, the mixture screw that goes in here, looks like that. And you can see there that where the O-ring goes, how skinny it is, and it can easily snap off there. And I've had many that broke off there, where that thread gets corroded, and you turn it and you're not careful with it, and it snaps off over there, and you can never get it out, and then you've got to throw that carb body away, because what you're going to do with it. So this is cool actually. I like this. Because it's external. Obviously the disadvantage, if you drop this, you're going to snap it off anyway or bend it. But I prefer this type to this type. So thumbs up to them for using this type. I think it's a bonus. So the idle jet in this carby is as per the very, very late model. So this housing here is the same as the 3236 and the 36 DCD. It's a 6mm thread. This is obviously the short idle jet, but that goes on the secondary. So one on the primary is as per the very, very late model. You can see this is an 8mm thread. I've only seen a handful of carbs with this. It's like I say, it's the very, very late models, and the ones with electric idling jets also had this big thread in. And the jet that comes out of there is also a thicker one. You can clearly see the difference there. We do have these available. This one that was in here was a 60. I took it out, I put a 50 in, because this is never going to idle on the client's car with that bigger jet. So be mindful that you need to change this, but we do have it available on the online shop. So on the normal Weber, it's cast in there 26, 27, and that's the size of the Venturis inside there. So on this carby, there's nothing in there. It's clear, it's blank, so you don't know what it is, but I've measured it with my compass, with a genuine one, and it is a 26 and a 27, so that's all good there, no problem with that. So one thing that they did change on this carby, they made this shaft a little longer, which is very nice for when you do a modification or an upgrade, a carby upgrade or something like that, because with the normal universal accelerator bracket that or wheel that we sell, it hooks on that little link there, but because the shaft is longer, you can just space it up and put this on, and then it misses that wheel. The wheel misses that link at the back, which is very nice. So there's no problem with that. The accelerator wheel simply just screws on. Sorry for struggling like that. So there we go. I've tightened it all. I've put a couple of washers in there as a spacer, and you can see it clears. Sorry, it clears there, which is very cool. So there's no problem with that. Something that I did note was that the return spring on this isn't as strong as the original. See there, the return spring isn't that strong, which is also okay. When you purchase this, we did make provision to put that little bolt and nut in there. You can put it there, or there, and then you simply just hook your return spring on that. So there's no problem with that either. So we sell these bearing kits. So if your shafts were ever worn out or whatever, then you can replace it with those little bearings. And I've done a video and I've done a few conversions like that. So I wanted to see if it would fit, but also I wanted to see if there was actually a seal inside there, and you can see they've got a seal in there, and there's the spring that holds it. So it's actually quite awesome. And let me just get one of these out. And if you ever wanted to, or if this was ever worn out on the casing, you can actually fit the bearing in there. I don't want to push it in because then I'm going to struggle to get it out, but it is possible to do that. So that's very positive. I actually quite like that. That's very positive. Well, there you have it. Quite a good carb. As the original Webers are becoming very, very scarce, and I'm struggling to find good condition ones that's rebuildable, we're going to have to go to these carbs, and I would recommend this one. It's actually quite a good carb. I don't see that it's any less quality or whatever you want to call it than an original Weber. It is quite light. I don't know why that is. I don't know what material it's made out of, but I don't have a problem with that, because if the shafts wear out, the kits will fit, the bearing kits will fit, the normal carburetor kits and all the parts will fit, and everything is available. The jets are the same. What I would say, if you purchase one of these quality carbs from us, it will be taken apart, cleaned and put together, and we do have all the kits and jets and everything available for this. Anyway, I hope this helps someone. Be safe out there.